Terrifying discovery. Inside a 2,500-year-old tomb in China, left archaeologists in shock. Have you ever imagined that one day, beneath the seemingly peaceful earth that has slept undisturbed for thousands of years, there could lie a horrifying secret, so terrifying that it made an entire team of archaeologists scream in fear? Today's story isn't a scene from a horror movie. It's a true event that took place in China in December 2006, an accidental archaeological excavation that uncovered a dark secret buried for over 2,500 years. In Shuikou Town, located in Jing'an County, Yichun City, Jiangxi Province, construction workers were using explosives to blast through rocks for a highway project. But immediately after the explosion, they noticed something unusual. The sound echoed irregularly, as if there wasn't solid earth beneath them, but rather some mysterious hollow space. Sensing something strange was hidden below, the workers stopped their work and reported the anomaly to local authorities. When they dug about 40 feet deeper, they were stunned to discover a massive pit. Inside it was an ancient tomb covering more than 1,100 square feet. And the horror had only just begun. Archaeologists were immediately dispatched to the scene. After several days of study, they confirmed it was an ancient tomb dating back over 2,500 years, from the Eastern Zhou dynasty, specifically the mid to late spring and autumn period, one of the most chaotic and blood-soaked eras in Chinese history. The tomb had a rectangular shape and a complex structure that sloped downward from east to north, suggesting it may have belonged to a noble figure of immense power and status. But what truly shocked the researchers was the number of coffins inside the tomb. Not just one or two, but 47 coffins, all neatly arranged. The largest measured 10.4 feet long and is believed to have belonged to the tomb's primary occupant. Though the skeleton had decayed almost completely, what remained painted a haunting picture of the past. Precious jewelry, gold, jade, hundreds of woven fabrics, and most notably, a 26-inch ancient sword with its hilt and scabbard still intact. According to experts, this artifact alone is worthy of being classified a national treasure. However, the real horror began when the experts opened the remaining coffins. Inside the 46 identical coffins were the bodies of young girls, aged only between 15 and 20. All were found naked, wrapped only in simple bamboo mats. Their faces bore expressions of agony and terror, as though they had endured a brutal death. Even more disturbingly, at night, the bodies appeared to glow. Scientists couldn't believe their eyes, as such a phenomenon had never been recorded before in the history of Chinese archaeology. After thorough analysis, experts proposed a chilling hypothesis. The tomb may have belonged to King Zhongwu, a monarch from the ancient state of Shu, a vassal kingdom that existed from the Xia to the Western Zhou dynasties. The 46 young girls were likely slaves who were forced into human sacrifice, a brutal ancient custom meant to serve the deceased in the afterlife. Human sacrifice was a barbaric ritual in ancient feudal societies. When a ruler died, slaves, often young women, were forced to die alongside him to continue serving him in the next world. These girls were believed to be palace weavers. They were reportedly made to consume poison-laced melon seeds, dying in pain before being buried alive with the king's corpse. The high concentration of toxins in their bodies likely contributed to the preservation of their remains for over 2,500 years. So, what about the glowing phenomenon? Experts later discovered that the bones of the girls contained iron phosphate crystals, a rare compound capable of phosphorescence. These crystals likely formed from a reaction between the toxins in their bodies and underground mineral water, creating a bizarre glow reminiscent of mystical emeralds. This phenomenon had never been documented before in archaeology and left scientists astonished, admitting that we still don't fully understand the secrets buried by history. The excavation of this ancient tomb in Jiangxi not only revealed invaluable archaeological treasures, but also opened a window into a blood-stained chapter of history, where human lives were treated as disposable objects. It's a cold, brutal past, but also a reminder of how far humanity has come, from darkness into light. And sometimes, the most chilling mysteries lie just beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered. But you know what? What was found in the 2,500-year-old tomb in China is just the tip of the iceberg in the mysterious world of archaeology. Across the globe, there are countless other discoveries that have left modern science bewildered, from ancient structures that defy the construction capabilities of their time to tombs that contain extraterrestrial artifacts still unexplained. In the next part, we'll dive into some of the most mysterious archaeological finds ever recorded, secrets that might change how humanity understands its own history. So, what are these discoveries? What secrets do they hold? Let's find out, right now. A mummified body intact, after 300 years. What started as a typical morning on a construction site in Jiangxi County, Henan Province, China, suddenly became the focus of the archaeological world when 3 ancient coffins were discovered at a depth of about 10 feet underground. No one could have predicted that what had been hidden beneath the earth for over 300 years would tell such a mysterious and haunting story about Qing dynasty embalming techniques, one of the most powerful dynasties in Chinese history. The bodies weren't just ceremoniously buried, they were astonishingly well preserved, leaving experts speechless. Among the 3 mummies found, the most remarkable was the body of a man, believed to be a high-ranking official, still wearing his full ceremonial robes. Every stitch, every layer of his garment was perfectly preserved, as if he had just gone to sleep the night before. But the mystery didn't stop there. When the coffin was opened, the man's face appeared vividly lifelike, disturbingly so. Yet within just a few hours, something strange occurred. His face began to turn black, a foul stench filled the air, and a skin sample quickly darkened. Professor Dong Xiong, a renowned historian, exclaimed, "The entire decomposition process that should have taken 300 years happened in just one day." That statement opened the door to a strange possibility. Time itself seemed to have been compressed, lying in wait for the exact moment to erupt, tearing away the tomb's peaceful facade. Scientists proposed various hypotheses, and the answers gradually emerged. According to Professor Dong, it's highly likely the official's family used traditional medicinal herbs in combination with an anaerobic environment to prevent natural decomposition. While the coffin remained sealed underground, surrounded by charcoal and waterproof lacquer, bacteria were unable to penetrate, preserving the body in near-perfect condition. But all it took was one small crack for external air to rush in, awakening time, and the decay process, paused for centuries, resumed immediately. Lucas Nicol, an archaeologist from the University of London, noted that Chinese mummification techniques were vastly different from those of the Egyptians. Instead of using resin or removing internal organs, the Chinese placed the body in a large coffin, buried it in a sealed chamber, and relied entirely on natural conditions, humidity, oxygen, and temperature, to preserve the remains. In this case, the lacquered wooden coffin, placed within layers of charcoal, created an ideal environment to block out bacteria and mold. And this wasn't the first time China stunned the world with miraculous mummified discoveries. In 2011, in eastern China, the mummified body of a noblewoman from the Ming dynasty was unearthed. Her entire body and burial items preserved in nearly perfect condition. These discoveries do more than reveal ancient mortuary techniques. They open a window into the past where faith, medical knowledge, and a deep understanding of nature were combined. Within every layer of soil, in each ancient coffin, lie fragments of history, not just stories of death, but insights into how people once viewed life, honor, and eternity. And when time suddenly unravels in a single instant, we're reminded that the past never truly rests. An ancient Egyptian tomb, dedicated to the goddess of fertility. Over 3,500 years ago, amidst the sun-scorched deserts and barren cliffs of Deir el-Bahari, a sacred area near modern-day Luxor, a great civilization left behind a stunning legacy that continues to awe us to this day. In a recent groundbreaking discovery, archaeologists unearthed a grand temple, once devoted to the powerful fertility goddess Hathor, the divine patroness of love, music, and rebirth. This site was part of the ancient Hathor cult complex and directly connected to the legendary female pharaoh Hatshepsut. But the true marvel wasn't just the temple, it was what researchers now call a sacred garbage dump, a forgotten archaeological treasure buried for centuries. Imagine this. Beneath the arid ground lay a corridor nearly 50 feet long, filled with shattered relics, small clay statues, fragments of glazed ceramic jars, clay bull figurines, amulets, and even limestone and granite statues representing Hathor. No one expected that items once offered to the gods, once central to the most sacred rituals, would end up discarded by temple priests. Yes, that's right. This wasn't a shrine, but an overflow disposal area for the Hatshepsut Temple. The discovery shocked archaeologists with its irony, yet its historical value is immense. Professor Patrick Chudzik, director of the Polish-Egyptian Archaeological and Conservation Mission, stated that his team uncovered countless artifacts dating from the New Kingdom, spanning three glorious dynasties, the 18th, 19th, and 20th dynasties, between the 16th and 11th centuries BCE. If you think this site had already been thoroughly examined, think again. In the late 1800s, Swiss archaeologist Edouard Neville first discovered the tomb but ignored the garbage dump, dismissing it as meaningless debris. In the 1920s, an American expedition revisited the temple, but again, overlooked this unique deposit. It wasn't until spring 2021, nearly 2 centuries later, that Chudzik's team began investigating the forgotten area and uncovered a stunning truth. Each discarded item turned out to be a vivid testimony to the rich religious life of ancient Egyptians. There were statues of fairy-like figures representing Hathor, finely handcrafted pottery, and votive offerings in the shape of sacred cows, animals deeply associated with the fertility goddess. These were not lifeless objects, but manifestations of a profound spiritual belief, a devotion to divine protection for both royalty and the people. Even more fascinating is the knowledge that Pharaoh Hatshepsut herself, one of the rare and powerful women to wear the Egyptian crown, was a devout follower of Hathor. She even built a personal chapel for the goddess within her temple. Every ritual item found in this sacred refuse may once have been part of royal ceremonies, prayers offered to secure fertility, prosperity, and protection for the land. But why were such precious offerings discarded? According to Chudzik, there came a time when the sheer volume of offerings became overwhelming. There was simply no space left in the temple. The priests had no choice but to remove the excess items to a designated area, not as an act of disrespect, but as a practical solution in temple management. Ironically, these discarded relics have now become invaluable gifts to modern archaeology. This discovery not only holds monumental historical value, it also offers a gateway into the spiritual, cultural, and social life of a once mighty empire. In the near future, this site will be preserved, reconstructed, and open to the public, allowing people to witness firsthand the sacred space that once held the prayers of ancient Egypt. A dump, a tomb, a temple, and a glorious chapter of history once thought lost now comes back to life in the heart of the desert, thanks to the perseverance, passion, and the trained eyes that see value in the seemingly mundane. Construction worker stumbles upon ancient tomb seen before him, leaves him trembling and collapsing. It's often said that life is full of wonders and can bring you great surprises. For one construction worker, however, the surprise was far from welcome. It was downright terrifying. According to China's KK News, on a March morning in 2018, the worker arrived at a construction site as usual. The team was building a structure, and while digging the foundation, unexpectedly uncovered a large ancient tomb. The worker and his colleagues were initially thrilled, thinking the tomb might contain valuable antiques or even gold and jewels. Everyone eagerly dug deeper into the earth to uncover these treasures. But upon seeing the tombstone, the worker's face went pale, his body trembled, and he collapsed to the ground. His colleagues rushed to see the tombstone and were equally shocked, their limbs going weak. What caused such terror? The tombstone bore the exact name of the worker. Everyone believed it was an ominous sign, especially the worker himself. After discussion, they decided to call in archaeological experts for an assessment. The experts reassured the worker that the name on the tombstone was merely a coincidence. The tomb belonged to a high-ranking official from ancient times who happened to share the worker's name, meaning it wasn't the bad omen they feared. Relieved by the explanation, the worker finally calmed down. In reality, having the same name as someone else is quite common today. In fact, you might encounter multiple people with your name throughout your life. Have you ever had a strange encounter with someone who shares your name? Let us know in the comments below. Rare tomb, carved into the heart of a mountain. Shuikou, Jiangxi, China, is known as the birthplace of Liu Bang, and a region with a long history and influential culture. In February 1981, at the foot of Gui Mountain in western Shuikou, a group of local villagers stumbled upon the burial tomb of Liu Ju, the Xiang king of Chu, the 41st king of the Chu state at the time. Upon excavation, the public was astonished by the tomb's scale and intricate architecture. The tomb was built into the slope of Gui Mountain, divided into two south-north corridors with a total of 15 chambers. This ancient tomb was vast and meticulously crafted, showcasing the extraordinary skill of the artisans of that era, while leaving behind many mysteries for future generations. The southern corridor led to the tomb of the Xiang King, while the northern one led to his wife's resting place. The corridors stretched 184 feet in length. The entire tomb spanned 7,535 square feet, with a volume exceeding 91,818 cubic feet, carved out of the mountain's core. Considering the relatively primitive tools available at the time, how the artisans hollowed out the mountain without causing landslides remains an unsolved mystery. This tomb is considered a rare feat among the many ancient tombs excavated in China. The two south-north corridors were dug parallel to the tomb's central axis, with a distance of 62 feet between them and an error margin of just under 16,000. In simpler terms, if extended, the corridors would not intersect until reaching Xi'an, 621 miles away. The corridor's floors are higher inside and slope downward toward the outside, with a height difference of 20.75 inches and a gradient of just 1/1000th of a degree. The corridors of the Xiang King's tomb are among the most precisely constructed tunnels in the world to date. Without advanced tools in ancient times, how the craftsmen achieved such precision remains an open question. Beyond the tunnel's near-perfect alignment, the stone blocks in the southern corridor baffled archaeologists. When the tomb was first discovered, cut massive stones blocked the passage to deter grave robbers. These stones were stacked in 2 layers of 13 blocks each, with each block weighing between 6 and 7 tons. When workers planned to remove the stones, they were astonished to find the joints between them so tight that not even a coin could fit between the layers. The origin of these stones also puzzled archaeologists. Beyond the long corridors lies the tomb of the Xiang King, consisting of 8 chambers, each carefully excavated. Archaeologists noted that the corridor walls were polished smooth to ease material transport, while the main tomb's walls were left rough for aesthetic reasons typical of the era. Large square stone pillars were found in all chambers, which experts believe helped prevent landslides. These pillars were meticulously polished. The tomb ceiling wasn't a flat surface, but was adorned with diamond-shaped patterns to avoid visual monotony. The craftsmanship of the tomb's construction is evident in its intricate details. The Xiang King's tomb is far from ordinary, hiding many mysteries. When the main tomb was opened, a life-sized shadow appeared on the northern wall near the king's coffin, dubbed the Chu King welcoming guests. Historians interpret this as the king greeting visitors to his tomb. In this grand tomb, archaeologists uncovered numerous valuable artifacts. However, the tomb's mysteries, which surpass our current understanding, remain its most striking feature. These unanswered questions continue to challenge experts seeking answers. The mysterious tomb beneath the Blackwater well. In ancient China, burial customs were rich and varied, as people placed great importance on funeral rites. When burying nobility, valuable items, sometimes priceless treasures of humanity, were often placed in tombs. One day in Jiangxi, China, locals noticed black water seeping from a well. After experts investigated, they exclaimed with joy, "We finally found it!" The story begins in the 1970s in a remote village in Jiangxi, where a man was digging a well in his yard for water. At a depth of about 10 feet, he encountered something bizarre. Black water began to rise. Initially, he thought it was murky, shallow water, but as he dug deeper, he hit a hard layer of soil that stopped him. Puzzled by the unusually solid foundation, he tried digging elsewhere, but the results were the same. The strange water was soon forgotten. 20 years later, in the 1990s, the local government decided to redevelop the area. They hired a professional geologist to survey the land. At the house where the well was dug, the geologist noticed several large pits filled with black water. Suspicious, he began an investigation. After thorough examination, the team discovered greenstone slabs in the black water. Geologists called in archaeologists, who, based on initial signs, concluded that an ancient tomb likely lay beneath. After meticulous investigation, archaeologists confirmed that the tomb under the black water belonged to a descendant of Sima Yi, a highly influential figure during China's Three Kingdoms period, often compared to Zhuge Liang. His descendants later overthrew the Wei dynasty and established the Western Jin dynasty. The tomb was identified as the resting place of Sima Yi, believed to contain numerous treasures. Careful excavation revealed 9 tombs, thrilling the experts. In 280 CE, after Sima Yan, a descendant of Sima Yi, became emperor, he appointed Sima Huang to govern what is now Jiangxi, China. In 296 CE, Sima Huang died of illness and was carefully buried. However, historical records never mention the mountain or location of his burial, making his tomb a mystery for thousands of years. This discovery was a serendipitous find of Sima Huang's resting place. Experts noted that 8 of the 9 tombs were reburials. Unfortunately, all 9 had been looted by grave robbers long ago. Fortunately, some artifacts remained untouched, providing crucial information for archaeological and historical research. These cultural relics offer insights into the 3 kingdoms and Western Jin periods, uncovering long-hidden mysteries, a significant achievement for Chinese archaeology. A 6 feet 4-inch puppet in an ancient tomb baffles experts. In December 1978 lunar calendar, Liaoxi, Shandong, China, saw an influx of strangers, making the area unusually bustling. Villagers had stumbled upon 2 ancient tombs while gathering soil from a field. The village head promptly contacted authorities, and archaeologists rushed to the site. During excavation, they found tomb number 2 to be particularly unique. Unlike typical stone tombs, this one was wooden with a heavy coffin. Everyone speculated about its occupant. To their surprise, the owner was a life-sized puppet. Further excavation uncovered bronze, lacquer, iron, and jade artifacts. Experts concluded the cemetery dated to the mid to late Western Han Dynasty. The archaeologists carefully transported the puppet to a research institute for detailed analysis. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches, taller than most people, it was remarkably well preserved, with only slight rot on the abdominal wood panel, not affecting its overall quality. The puppet was crafted from 13 wooden strips forming the body and limbs, with joints mimicking human bones. Using traditional mortise and tenon techniques, the puppet could perform various movements. Its head, carved from a single piece of wood, featured lifelike details like ears, eyes, mouth, and nose. A shallow groove, 0.8 inches deep and 0.2 inches wide, ran along the hairline, leading experts to speculate it once had hair. Some archaeologists believe the puppet was even dressed when buried. But what was the purpose of this oversized puppet? This remains a perplexing question. After thorough analysis, experts proposed several theories. The first suggests it was a commemorative item. The tomb's owner might have been a skilled puppeteer, and the family created this giant puppet to honor their contributions, burying it as a companion to the afterlife. However, the absence of strings on the puppet raises doubts, as this conflicts with its potential use as a prop. Some argue it's reasonable for strings to be removed during burial to prevent tangling. The second theory posits the puppet as a tomb guardian. Its 6 foot 4 inch stature suggests it could represent a tall, strong figure, possibly protecting the tomb's owner. However, using a puppet as a guard is unprecedented, so this hypothesis requires further study. The third theory links it to burial customs. Puppets were used in various rituals, and experts believe this large puppet may have been part of local ceremonies, possibly for exorcisms, before being buried. But how could such a large puppet be used in performances? This question continues to puzzle experts. While all 3 theories have merit, the puppet's true purpose remains an unsolved mystery. Nonetheless, its discovery provides valuable clues about life, development, and the evolution of puppetry in ancient China. An 800-ton monolithic stone with a shape that challenges scientists. The village of Asuka, located in Nara Prefecture's Takaichi District, Japan, is an ancient land rich with valuable historical relics. In the Ainu language, Asuka means flying bird. The area traces its origins to the Tumulus period, 250 to 552 CE, during which keyhole-shaped burial mounds surrounded by moats were common. One of Asuka's most unique features is the presence of intricately carved granite stones scattered throughout the region. The largest and most unusual of these is the Masuda no Iwafune, or the stone ship of Masuda. This monolithic stone, situated near a hilltop in Asuka, measures 36 feet long, 26 feet wide, and 15.4 feet tall, weighing approximately 800 tons. Its top is perfectly flattened, featuring two 3.3 feet square holes and a parallel ridge. At its base, there are grid-like indentations of unknown purpose. What is the nature of this stone, and what was its purpose? Who created it, when, and why? These questions remain unanswered. Scientists have proposed several theories to explain this unique and unusual structure. The stone is located in an area with numerous Buddhist temples and shrines, leading to the hypothesis that it was crafted by Buddhists, possibly for religious or ceremonial purposes. However, the Masuda no Iwafune bears no resemblance to other Buddhist relics, making this theory unconvincing. Another hypothesis stems from its name, Stone Ship of Masuda, suggesting it was carved to commemorate the construction of Masuda Lake, a nearby site now dry and part of Kashiwara City. A more popular theory posits it as an astronomical observatory, as the ridge on the stone aligns with the Asuka hillside and the sunset on a specific day, significant in the lunar calendar and early Japanese agriculture, marking the start of a new season. However, most scholars dismiss this theory, doubting its use as an ancient observatory. Some historians believe the stone is a remnant of a tomb designed for royalty, but this doesn't explain its unusual features, such as the square holes on top, nor the absence of any human remains. To account for this, some suggest it was an unfinished tomb entrance. Interestingly, the Masuda no Iwafune resembles another Japanese megalith, the Ishi no Hoden, which is similarly massive with comparable ridges on its sides. Today, Ishi no Hoden is part of the Oshiko Jinja Shinto Shrine, but its original purpose and creators remain unknown, leaving it a profound mystery that challenges experts worldwide. A mysterious elixir, hidden in a waterlogged tomb. As we know, ancient tombs were built with great durability but often harbored hidden dangers. Even seasoned experts face unavoidable risks. After thousands of years, coffins in these tombs have long decayed, leading to unpredictable changes. A decade ago, in 2011, a waterlogged tomb was excavated in Jiangxi Province, China. The condition of the artifacts inside astonished experts, who identified them as rare treasures. In the 1970s, due to land reform policies, numerous ancient tombs were unearthed, revealing stories of world history across various eras. The 2011 discovery of the tomb of the Marquis of Haihun, also known as Liu He, stunned the archaeological community. Liu He, a grandson of Emperor Wu of Han, was the 9th emperor of the Han dynasty but left little legacy, reigning for only 27 days. He died at age 33, and historical records note that his brief rule sparked considerable public discontent. The tomb of Liu He, massive in scale and submerged in sewer water for centuries, earned the name waterlogged tomb. This water, however, protected it from grave robbers, preserving its cultural relics intact. Archaeologists recorded that the tomb contained numerous rare treasures, including an ancient seal and other gold artifacts. While clearing the tomb, a team member discovered an orange box, initially thought to contain an elixir. Due to prolonged submersion, the bronze casing was no longer intact. When experts carefully opened it, the contents horrified everyone present. After calming down, they realized the box was filled with a large number of golden beetles, so filthy that even the most experienced felt uneasy. After a brief pause to regroup, the experts began studying the find. What was thought to be millennium-old corpses turned out to be a precious treasure. Cordyceps sinensis, commonly known as caterpillar fungus. This rare medicinal herb is widely recognized for its high nutritional value and has been used since ancient times to boost health. Remarkably, the Chinese were using cordyceps as a tonic as early as the Western Han Dynasty. What's astonishing is that these cordyceps, submerged in sewer water for over 2,000 years, remained perfectly preserved, a mystery that continues to baffle experts. Today, these artifacts are stored in a museum, awaiting further study to unlock their secrets. If you have the chance, visit to witness this so-called Chinese elixir for yourself. The twisted remains of the longest reigning Ming emperor. The emperor who ruled the longest during China's Ming dynasty was Emperor Wanli, also known as Ming Shenzong. He ascended the throne at the age of 10 and single-handedly ushered in a prosperous era for the Ming dynasty. In 1956, experts decided to excavate the Dingling tomb, the burial site of Emperor Wanli. The archaeological project, led by Guo Moruo, took 2 years to complete due to the limited technology of the time, making the process labor-intensive. Numerous burial artifacts were discovered, including jade and silk items. Unfortunately, due to the lack of experience and knowledge among experts at that time, many cultural relics were not properly preserved and quickly deteriorated upon exposure to air. After years of excavation, archaeologists finally reached the innermost chamber, where they found the emperor's coffin. The coffins of Emperor Wanli and his 2 empresses were placed on a bed within an underground palace. Nearby were 26 red-lacquered wooden boxes filled with burial goods. The emperor's coffin was massive, approximately 5.9 feet tall, and contained numerous burial items. By the time of excavation, over 300 years had passed since his burial, resulting in a foul odor emanating from the coffin. The emperor's body had decomposed, leaving only some intact bones. Archaeologists were astonished to find the remains positioned in a peculiar manner. Instead of lying flat, the body was twisted in an unnatural pose. Why this odd positioning? Some experts suggested that the body had been placed normally before burial but shifted during transportation. However, this theory was quickly dismissed because the burial goods inside the coffin were neatly arranged, indicating no disturbance during transit. Further research confirmed that the twisted posture was intentional. In ancient Chinese beliefs, the Big Dipper was considered the emperor's final destination after death. Therefore, the emperor's body was arranged to align with the shape of the Big Dipper constellation. Moreover, not only Emperor Wanli's posture, but also the layout of all Ming Dynasty imperial tombs was designed to mirror this constellation. This suggests that the burial positions of other Ming emperors were similarly aligned with the Big Dipper. Personally, I find this emperor's fate quite tragic. China's deadliest tomb, the burial of over 80 tomb robbers. East Asian cultures, particularly Chinese, have always placed great importance on burial practices. High-ranking officials often prepared or had their descendants construct grand tombs, believing that accompanying treasures would ensure a prosperous afterlife. However, this practice also attracted tomb robbers seeking to plunder these riches. To deter such thieves, many tombs were designed with traps. One of China's most infamous tombs, known as the Deadliest Tomb, is located in Xiangyang, Hubei Province, near the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. This massive tomb was accidentally discovered in 1981 when locals digging for a new house foundation unearthed a stone tablet with ancient inscriptions. Suspecting the presence of a tomb, they alerted local authorities. Upon excavation, a grand tomb complex emerged deep underground. The tomb dates back to the 5 Dynasties period, 907 to 960, and belonged to a prince. Initially, archaeologists were alarmed to find numerous human remains scattered throughout the site. As excavation continued, more and more mummified bodies were uncovered, leading to the discovery of 80 corpses. These bodies were in various states of decay and posed in different positions, some twisted, mouths agape, and others missing limbs, indicating a tragic fate. What made this tomb so lethal? The trap within was ingeniously simple yet horrifying. The walls and ceiling of the tomb were lined with fine sand, specially treated to be lightweight and non-cohesive. When robbers dug into the tomb, the disturbed sand would flow into the opening, gradually sealing it. Trapped inside, thieves faced suffocation, dehydration, darkness, and fear, leading to a slow and agonizing death. Over the course of a millennium, nearly 100 tomb robbers met their end in this manner, with none surviving. By the time of the 1981 excavation, the sand had settled, allowing archaeologists to enter without triggering the deadly trap. Remarkably, the treasures within the tomb remained untouched, preserved by the ingenious mechanism that had claimed so many lives. The incredibly valuable gilded horse of the Western Han Dynasty. In the 1980s, a small farming village in Jiangxi Province, China, relied primarily on agriculture. One day, an elderly farmer in the village accidentally struck a piece of metal while working in the fields. Focused on his work, he set the strange object aside. When he later examined it more closely, he noticed a golden glow beneath the layer of mud. The discovery astonished the villagers, who quickly reported it to the local authorities. When experts arrived to excavate the area, they discovered a tomb dating back to the Western Han Dynasty. Among the many relics unearthed, the metal object found by the farmer turned out to be the most valuable. In fact, it was a gilded horse statue estimated to be worth around 500 million yuan, approximately $69 million USD at current exchange rates. The Western Han gilded horse weighs about 79 pounds, stands 24.4 inches tall, and measures about 29.9 inches in length. The statue features a graceful stance, a well-proportioned and exquisitely crafted body, and exudes an extraordinary aura. Remarkably, it remains shiny even after thousands of years. The gilded horse was crafted with incredible precision. Experts noted that it has 6 teeth, rabbit-like jaws, dragon-like eyes, hair under its ears, patterned markings on its neck, a curved belly, firm muscles, a welded tail, and anatomical features that are remarkably consistent with real equine physiology. In Chinese historical records, biographies, and literature, the image of a golden horse has long been familiar. However, this is the first time a physical example has ever been unearthed. The horse's design reflects a calm demeanor, but it is far from ordinary. Its form is natural and simple, yet full of vitality and realism. The statue is not made of solid gold, but rather is bronze plated with gold, yet it is still incredibly valuable. Why? According to researchers, the core is made of bronze and the outer layer is gilded, giving it a radiant golden appearance. This is thanks to the ancient gold plating techniques used to craft it. The statue's brilliant golden sheen and exceptional durability demonstrate the advanced metallurgy and craftsmanship of the time. As a result, this artifact is considered a rare national treasure, rich in both cultural and historical significance. The gilded horse bears witness to the height of ancient Chinese art and craftsmanship. It reflects the intelligence and extraordinary skills of artisans from that era and is proof of the splendor of Chinese civilization during the Western Han period. Its distinct beauty also highlights the brilliance of the craftsmen who created it. The discovery of this golden horse caused a major stir at the time. As a cultural relic of the Western Han Dynasty, it holds immense value in terms of history, archaeology, culture, and science. Skeletal remains with severely deformed frontal bone. On the slope of a mountain in Shuikou Town, Henan Province, China, lies a massive earthen mound measuring approximately 197 feet in diameter and 49 feet in height. In 1995, an archaeological team from Henan Province discovered an ancient tomb at this site. The tomb's depth measured about 18.4 feet from the entrance to the top of the coffin and 31.5 feet to the tomb floor. Surrounding the tomb were 7 layers of soil. Each tier measured about 2.6 feet in both width and height and maintained a slope of approximately 33 feet. The fill soil used in the ancient tomb was a reddish-brown loam known for its fine and compact composition. After digging down roughly 4 inches, the archaeological team uncovered ancient tools including wooden spades, shovel handles, bamboo baskets, and various household items. Part of the tomb had collapsed, with the coffin placed in the central section. During the excavation, experts found clear evidence of tomb robbery, with signs indicating that valuable artifacts and burial items had been looted, mostly during the Eastern Han Dynasty. Despite the looting, many burial goods remained intact inside the tomb, including swords, arrows, staffs, chariots, pottery, official robes, armor, white jade statues, and amethyst pieces. Inscriptions on some of the artifacts provided important clues about the identity of the tomb's owner. Based on a spear inscribed with the phrase, "Spear used by Lord Pingya of the city of Cheng," and other engraved artifacts, archaeologists believe the tomb belonged to Pingya Jun Cheng, a noble who was granted title and land in Pingyu, or Jing'an County, part of the ancient state of Chu. The nobleman's personal name was Cheng, hence he was referred to as Pingya Jun Cheng. Additionally, bamboo slips found in the tomb revealed that Pingya Jun Cheng had close relationships with high-ranking figures of the time, including King Wen of Chu, King Zhao of Chu, King Hui of Chu, Pingya Wenjun, and Pingya Zishi. In the western burial chamber, 7 sets of human remains were discovered, along with jade ornaments. These individuals were likely handmaidens of the tomb's owner and were buried around the age of 20. Among them, researchers paid particular attention to one female skeleton that showed severe cranial deformation. The frontal bone of her skull was grotesquely distorted, likely the result of prolonged head binding using fabric. According to experts, this was an ancient beauty practice. Women in antiquity would tightly wrap their heads in silk scarves over long periods to reshape their foreheads and skulls into a narrower, more tapered form. At that time, aristocratic ideals of beauty prized women with small, delicate foreheads and heads. Because this woman had likely undergone such head binding for an extended time, her skull exhibited far more severe deformation than the others. Recent archaeological discoveries have not only shed light on the glorious past of ancient civilizations, but have also stunned the world with their mystery, strangeness, and even shockingly unimaginable elements. From long-forgotten tombs hidden for millennia to colossal underground structures and discarded ceremonial offerings of immense spiritual worth, these findings prove that history is still full of untold stories. Each artifact unearthed is not just a fragment of the past, but a bridge connecting us to the spiritual, cultural, and philosophical lives of ancient peoples. And most exciting of all, the discoveries are far from over. Beneath layers of time and dust, secrets still await revelation. Who knows, perhaps the next shocking discovery lies just beneath your feet? So if you're passionate about archaeology and love uncovering pieces of the past, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you next time.